Hello, vinyl community. Yes, this is my first video for you. You may have heard me. I usually do audio with pictures, but I thought I'd take this opportunity of saying hello and introducing myself so you can get a full picture of all the creases and crevices that come with a 66-year-old body. A brief introduction before I do this thread and I'll read it so I'll get it right. Vinyl Community Greatest Album Closing Songs, started by Pretty Green and Vinyl Guy. Not quite sure if I got that right. Anyway, quick introduction then. I live in Thailand now. I was born in the UK. Managed to escape the UK about 27 years ago. That followed a year off for travelling, and on that route I came across this little country called Thailand. 3 years later I decided to escape from the stress of an extremely difficult job in the UK working for the social services department. It was either get out this way or get out in a box, because it was slowly killing me. So here I am into Thailand. Why did I come? Well, to escape that misery, to find a female partner, which had always been a headache for me, and to live in a warm climate, and basically not controlled by the government from the minute I woke up to the minute I went to bed. So that's a really quick summary. Now to this thread, which you're probably more interested in. My channel, My Passions Music, the last 60 years. I started that about a year ago. It's about 58 years, but never mind. Let's not be too pedantic. And I've got about 80 videos on there. And I decided a few weeks back that I was getting a bit lonesome here with no English-speaking friends of note following COVID. And so I decided to join you lot. And I'm very happy I have. So let's get on with my first video then. These best closing songs. Now, if you've caught my channel, you'll know that I'm a real fan of lists, and I tend to block music off in certain time periods. I have a yearly best albums that I do, a top 10. So I'm going to do a little bit similar here, but these closing songs I'm taking from about a 5-year period when I was at the height of my musical inspirational best, I guess. When I was a young man in my late teens, early teens, from 1968-ish, 67 to 72. So I was getting on from 14 to 18. I'm going to choose that period, and I think I've got about 10. Now what I will be doing is I will edit in some pictures of the album covers, which will probably appear on your left, my right, in small in a small pic, just in case you're not familiar with them. These aren't in any particular order, so let's get started. The first one I put down was really a dead cinch, really. It's A Day in the Life from Sgt. Pepper. We probably all heard it. We all know that it was the finishing part to a classic. It still moves me when I hear it. Absolutely fantastic track, A Day in the Life from Sgt. Pepper. Next up is probably my all-time favourite artist, Jimi Hendrix, and this is the last track on the double album, Electric Ladyland, Voodoo Child Sight Return. This belatedly was released as a single, I think, but when I first came across the album I was awestruck, and the final track just takes you into a nirvana, I think. The man will never be surpassed, the greatest rock and blues guitarist I've ever witnessed, and shame we lost him so young. Next up, another predictable one from the Doors' first album, the last song, The End. And for any movie buffs out there, you'll know that this is also heard throughout the movie Apocalypse Now. It's just such an immersive track, I feel. It really is very difficult to listen to this track without being physically moved by the Morrison vocals, the Manzarek and Kruger mix. It's absolutely unbelievable. The End. Right, now the first of two by the Rolling Stones. Yeah, that's a bit naughty sneaking too. In Beggar's Banquet, the closing track on that is Salt of the Earth. I just absolutely love the tempo there, how it speeds up, and Mick's vocals are just, well, he's so special, isn't he? Unbelievable. So continuing on now with this best closing songs, a band that some of you may well have heard, Blodwyn Pig. They were a British rock blues band at the end of the 60s, fronted by one Mick Abrahams, who previously appeared on the Jethro Tull debut, but he fell out with Ian Anderson, and so he went off and formed his own band. The first album is a cracker. It's called A Head Rings Out, and the closer on that was a real stomping rocker called Ain't You Coming Home, Babe. Next, Santana. Right, now I really love Santana, and I've chosen Soul Sacrifice, which is the last track on the debut, and there's a story behind this. I remember I was on holiday with my father, my mother as well, but I was out with my father walking around this town in Mallorca, and that's the Spanish Balearic Islands, no, Spanish Islands, and we heard this music coming from a bar across the street, and I waltzed in there with my father. We both had a beer, and it was Santana, Soul Sacrifice, and that was when my love affair began with Carlos Santana's music. So next up, Grateful Dead. This is the album American Beauty, and I love this album. I'm not a great fan of the Grateful Dead, but I love this album, and the closer, of course, is the famous song Trucking, and it really reflects on how great it is when you're listening to it in your car or your vehicle. So I put that one in. Moving on then, and it's Black Sabbath, the debut album, and I've chosen the last track, Warning, which takes up most of the second side. And again, I saw this band when this album came out in a very small venue, about 150 people, and it was really an atmospheric evening, to say the least, witnessing Iommi's guitar and Osbourne's crazy vocals. Moving on, gotta choose Surf's Up, the Beach Boys. I've done a video on the album. This is the last track, the title track. It's got to be in there as best songs. Absolutely idyllic, as the whole album is. looking at my notes, because memory recall is a bit fluid these days. Another member of the community, I can't remember his name, my apologies, mentioned a band called Van der Graaf Generator some way back, and I've chosen the last track on their debut album, The Least We Can Do Is Wave to Each Other, and it's called After the Flood. It's a terrifically powerful piece of music, fronted by one Peter Hamill, and I suggest you check them out. Next up, right, Genesis. The third album was the one that I fell in love with, although I did have the fortune to see this band on many occasions in the same club that I saw Black Sabbath, and I saw them at the beginning of their Trespass tour, but they also played some Nursery Crime a little later, and The Fountain of Psalmacies. Oh, it's such an awesome piece of music, with Gabriel really at the peak of his powers, I would say. So, trying to get some balance between the British music and American music. Stephen Stills. I first got into Stephen Stills from a friend when I was 17. I'd never heard of him. Missed completely the Buffalo Springfield, but my friend was really into him, and I've chosen Bluebird Revisited from the second solo album. This is absolutely terrific. I know he did this before with Buffalo Springfield, but this version is shorter, and it's full of horns and arrangements, and Stills' guitar playing is absolutely tremendous. And a quick word, Manassas, a band that didn't last very long, but probably released the greatest double studio album in my lifetime. Moving on. Yeah. The Who. Who's next? Last track. Won't Get Fooled Again. Well, say no more. Absolutely awesome. And now, one aspect of this I've noticed is not too many black or African American artists. So I'm going to try and put that right. I've chosen Evil from this album Music of My Mind by Stevie Wonder. I think it's such an awesome mood chiller, this one. The album's absolutely 5-star, but I love Evil, which is the closer. Right, and now we're down to the last two, I believe. The second Stones one, Let It Bleed. You can't always get what you want with the choir, and Jagger at his most impressive, I think. This is an absolute dream of a closer. And I've got two more. Harvest, Neil Young. The closer is Words, a great slow blues with some terrific guitar and a great band, of course, Crazy Horse. And the last one, Steely Dan from Can't Buy a Thrill, That Heartbeat Again. And I always forget the title, but Throw Me That Heartbeat Again. The whole album is a mega debut as far as I'm concerned, and I absolutely adore this band. But this is a real great song to close it. So anyway, that's my lot. Just a little promo for any of you that might also like movies. I have a movie channel called Magic Movie Reviews, and you might want to check that out on YouTube. And I do newer stuff, but I also do a lot of classics, 50s and 60s reviews. Now, some people don't like reviews. I do. I find that it helps me sort out what not to waste my time on. and so I put them up there. People might want to inquire them. There's the odd spoiler on there, but it gives you a gist of what you're gonna spend 2 hours on, and I think that's pretty important, particularly when you get to my age. So thanks very much. This thread, I've enjoyed it. I will be doing more. I hope the audio is still in sync. I'm going to edit it now. So see you later.